Good heavens, I might faint. Polygons give hoary, tingly taint.
Harley farts, you beg for more. Lady parts, too much to endure. Tourist, zoomer, closet, goomer, purist. Kyle, slice out the tumor. Against the law, better not misgender. Gooner, must be short for big spender. Tick tock, brain rot, thought, frost, too hot. Brain cells, one shot, bot. Wish he had a slot. Weird, called it kettle black, blonde. Cause a heart attack. Spoil she, they, suddenly I wanna play. Non-binary glaze, can't stop the male gaze. Abridge, erase, censor, edit, redaction. Western game flags, negative traction. Force extraction, zero attraction. Garbage, not to my satisfaction. You say gooner, we say profitable. Heterosexual, indomitable. Ones and zeros, rip and tear. You choose the bear and we just don't care. Dud incarnate, without a clue. How can they out obnoxious you? Record breaking, schedule 1. Inject the 4 sweet babies, done. Access shills cannot stop the lies. Mad cause of what's in between their thighs. Paradise, another crypto scam. Girls don't need to say it is ma'am.
Hello, beta testers.
Like, comment, subscribe, and join if you're all remembering to create Exuberant. IGN, among others, in their desperation to get you angry and on their political side, attempted to weaponize Switch 2's prices by blaming Trump because politics. Is it true? No. Is it the first time IGN's told a bold-faced lie for traction? No. Will it be their last? No. They'll hide your comments, lock their posts so no one can comment, and writers will run to their echo chambers, and they'll defend their ignorance and deliberate falsehoods with mistranslations from people who claim verbatim to hate white people because, you know, just like developers, just like shills, just like community managers who are seething that you're noticing, they view you as the villain. My job's become as easy as repeating what these entities say, and now that someone has informed their out-of-touch Zegler ass how bad they're coming off, we are the villain for spotlighting the truth. I've been struck on this channel with the appeal instantly being rejected, and it will happen to any of you who receive what they class as too much attention. Too much. A meme of a frog weightlifting was deemed maliciously inflicting physical or psychological harm on an animal and resulted in content being removed from this channel, so if you were looking for a video, that's where it went. In the past days, I've taken the time to translate and forward pertinent information to relevant parties because the getting loud portion of Kyle's online nonsense kind of starts here, and I'm afraid it won't be the typical kind of loud that these entities might expect. The tourists and refugees from shameful games like Overwatch and Destiny suddenly fancy themselves authorities enough to dictate what is too much in video games like the Helen Lovejoy Hall Monitor Aura emanators they are. And with pride pins to boost pronoun power, they push positivity the only way they know how. By being hypocrites, of course. They claim their issue is with the women being over-sexualized, yet when we bring up the men, they say no, verbatim, they don't count, because it's really about the straight, or what they class as cis, men not getting what they want. I'm still laughing that Elon Musk took the cis word away from them. It was their favorite slur. And I guess they've gotten all that blue sky out of their system, so they're forced to slurp and gulp down the reality of being on Elon's platform forever, because they must be where the group is. Ironically, one glance at many of their profiles reveal the heterophobic hatred for what can only be categorized as old-fashioned, harmless fun in a virtual space for the sake of entertainment, and they can't have that. No. Like a Marge Simpson saying, call me a killjoy, but because this isn't to my taste, nobody should be able to enjoy it. I'm not kidding when I say that the twerk emote that delighted gamers and granted netties plenty of data is truly triggering them, and I know because they're telling me so. But if I can go back to data, the 80 million that some of these games are knocking down in a single month is granting data. Data the West has gotten into the habit of ignoring, like the feedback from fans that they just ignore. The East doesn't do that. In the comments below, could you tell me? Which do you think is worse for these companies? The term GOONER being associated with their game, or the term DEI? It's gotten so bad that in a last-ditch attempt to get people to reject or dislike the Emma Frost skin, the echo chambers run by radical queer entities have launched this campaign to convince people that Emma is trans or a drag queen, as if these games can resist telling you when this is the case. See the cancelled Sega game Hyenas, or the shutdown after 2 weeks Concord. These people implied that Emma Frost looked too masculine in the face, in an ironic and amazing recognition and admission of something that you realize should not be appealing to the dominant, ruling, powerful, heterosexual men. What's that patriarchy word you like to use all the time? Even successful attention seizers like Melanie Mac jumped on this bandwagon, and it's crazy for me to see Melanie and the gaming circle jerkers working together, but whatever to realize a goal, right? If I cared to wonder, quite bluntly, where this passion was for the last decade that women were being downgraded, I'd probably immediately come to the conclusion that there wasn't enough attention to harvest out of it then. I suppose that must have changed. Now? Beta tester, my name is Kyle, and I'll keep reminding you that for people like me, it was never about recognition or money. In fact, you frequently clock me resisting the correct terminology and jumping through the right hoops to protect the brand or retain access. I won't be needing to pull my pants down for measurements or prove my achievement score because, much like many of the discussions with, MM and nerfs, these are things we can slowly wait for everybody to catch up to. Our conversations might as well be with AI or for people a year from now, and with the jizz-gargling followers shuffling into these spaces to be the newest wave of useful idiots, be reminded that you effortlessly do what it takes them a full group to coordinate. They don't and never will dominate this conversation. You do, and you will. If they did, they wouldn't need to address you or the backlash or the outrage. If they did, they wouldn't have to try so hard to twist these narratives, and they could have gotten you to vote for Kamala like Kinda Funny Greg begged. You're the one who makes sure they're held accountable for their filthy injections and unprofessional conduct, and through your hilarious inaction, the problem is solving itself. They're fighting each other, and they're mad at the people signal boosting. They're mad at you for noticing. I don't need a big audience to influence swaths of sad sacks to devote themselves to me. And in showing you, I hope you realize that you have the same power, in greater measure. I used to tease that people angry over AI are triggered by the car and argue in favor of horses only. But with people actually attacking strangers' electric cars these days, I see them more like protesters trying to save a phone booth, the way they chain themselves to a tree. Over time, cheap, affordable cell phones made the phone booths obsolete. Maybe not everywhere, but here. And why should they care about elsewhere? Back during Hogwarts Legacy, when radical pronoun posses were attacking VTubers, the gamer's editor-in-chief was othering a Jewish girl who'd been reduced to tears, and dismissing it as not a big deal. I warned that you're earning disgust, and you might as well sell your services as a reverse hype man like IGN. Whatever you say, it's gotta be the opposite. Back in my gaming era, it was not unusual to hire these kinds of types to protest or boycott to boost sales, with the understanding that if these people hate it, then this thing must be great. The difference is they used to be Bible-thumping parent types. Now it's just sad. Either way. Beta tester, I love you and I'll talk to you soon. Attached to the end of this video is the one that got removed last time with the harmful frog weightlifting material removed from it, you know what I mean? But I think we all know it's not about that, is it? Thank you for your support, for your love. Thank you for supporting other lightning rods in the space who are holding the attention of the types of people that, as I told you, would be fighting rats in the street for attention if they're sure they could get it.
I'd like to add that those aren't just BS reasons made up to justify objectification. They're also a testament to the patriarchal beliefs that permeate how men see and represent women. If there wasn't a systemic framework to justify that, it'd be equal opportunity regardless of gender. But the reality is that the character who uses their sexuality as a weapon is nearly always a woman. That's why I really dislike this argument, especially on this sub. I want people here to engage with the overarching context where these characters are created, and that context is heteropatriarchal capitalism. Even in this thread, people are complaining that every sexy female character gets posted here, but they have to understand that nearly every sexualized woman created in the aforementioned context is sadly dependent on the sexist and misogynistic beliefs. Even if the creator is a woman, one has to keep a critical outlook.
See, this is why I hate video games. It appeals to the male fantasy. I wrote a blog post a while ago about why I fucking hate video games.
Yes, even the top comment says that it's on brand for her to be sexualized. I find this argument idiotic. She's not a real person.
Huh?
She's a fictional character.
Okay.
Designed by a man!
In a medium that traditionally objectifies women. I find it tiring that so many just take in-universe explanations at face value.
It's just the equivalent of a manga artist saying that the big-titted lolly is actually 5,000 years old.
Why does she have to have boobs? Why does she have to have boobs?
And scene. DEI-licious, return to form. Alphabet cope is now the new norm. Call it the truth, they can't handle the strain. Your light at the end of the tunnel might be a freight train. Top sales, top most played. One man develop a mixture homemade. AAA promises India delivers. Everyone's taking this nigga to give up. Oh, thank God, another liberal savior. Culture war browsers' bizarre behavior. Not gay enough, say the butthole shavers. Drowning in Kool-Aid, don't know the flavor. Virtue signaling, bloat deep-throated. SAG-AFTRA community noted. Genshin Paimon got a scab arrangement. Is it my cologne or Kyle derangement? Ubisoft defense cannot stop the free fall. Even more layoffs at Eidos Montreal. Pay big money for a toothless gum job. Influencers glistening with knob slob. Sugar, spice, everything nice. Western seppuku, Eastern fried rice. Snips and snails and puppy dog tails. No dick and balls on what we call female. Hello, beta testers. Do me a favor and like, comment, and subscribe if you're in no hurry for the slop you're playing to suddenly start costing $80 based on an example Nintendo is putting forward. Mario, now worth $80. I hope you guys regard the feelings you're observing as a teaspoon to the ocean of what Kyle's been on about since I spoke on GTA 6 last year. Because, the Elite Bonus Premium Deluxe Early Access Reach Around package will be what people simply don't think twice about purchasing. And with 10 years separating the last one, you might even have scalpers to worry about. Imagine it, GTA 5, but it's difficult to even get. Thank God for digital, huh? Oh my God. A special thanks to those of you who are in my Discord and liking videos, because it makes all of this easier, and notifying those who hilariously have already opted into wanting to see these videos. Nearly $100 million is being made a month because some brands are so powerful that they're pulling in whales to pull on their banners. When you're not compromising everything with overt pandering and repulsive subversions, people will continue to buy. Your merch will continue to fly off shelves and into the hearts of some NFT dweeb that'll place it in a basement where it can sit untouched and accrue value. How can big jaw HRT injection or woman with no collection understand that? So to fast forward to what you're really here for, yes, I saw that wheelchair game that finally, after all this time, brings proper representation to the differently abled. I'm disabled, but in a fun way. I couldn't help but think of the motion. You know, you're gripping those wheels firmly, that tight, you're just pushing it forward or you're yanking it back. With cup sizes in the comments, I think that not only will this be great exercise for girls casual enough to play this kind of nonsense, but it must have us thinking about the wheelchair girls that on a scale from kung fu to coconut crab pincer grip, what do you think these girls got going on? Well endowed ladies on wheels, and how hard they can milk might bring us to our heels? Never mind. Schedule 1 is managing a much more consistent player base than the games that shills have enabled Ubisoft with, like Assassin's Creed Shadows, and I've been playing it, absolutely overwhelmed, but enjoying it. I mixed up a woke mind virus that grants balding, schizo, anti-gravity, seizures, and tropic thunder, which race swaps among other things. I was trying to make it a laxative too, but it's not bad for a first attempt. It's easy when watching bodies ragdoll around and get run over by cars to jump on a skateboard and wonder, with time, with a budget, with updates, with feedback, could this game implement a Tony Hawk kind of, I want to be grinding around this city? No pun intended. These things are baked in. The fun? People like that. The kind of fun where your kids are getting your house put on a list looking up meth recipes for a video game. I don't forget things like the most anticipated game being named after a felony, and in this all the women must be ugly in Mortal Kombat kind of political correct world where it's everything stifled and we're just choking the fun out of experiences, I can't help notice normie legacy Ubisoft defending losers siding with psychopathy, but verbatim, they only care if games are gayer, and they must argue that gay is actually what everybody's in the mood for. They gotta trick anyone who's willing to listen into a delusion that kills entire studios. God forbid some polygons get hit by a car. That's controversial. 1 second something's a big no-no and should be removed, and the next second it's optional and you don't have to if you don't want to. Same argument for GTA happened decade after decade after decade. They should address you properly since you're desperate to infiltrate foreign spaces and attempt to call shots with zero information, zero in a history, and worse, an aversion and misplaced hatred based on your ignorance. Hate is too light a judgment for some of these dumbasses in the gaming space. And either you assholes get to teabagging, or I guess I can get louder, and I'm sure everybody will love that. I had to jump through hoops just to play Dead or Alive, because that's where we are at this point. Region locked, nice, pretty girl games. It's easy for shills to try to class woke as black, gay, or woman, but it's actually activism. Overt activism onto compromise, as I outlined earlier. It is limitation. It's unqualified people in positions that are really costing the project something that is forward-facing. The audience, the customer, the consumer sees it. It's needless complication for the sake of subversion. It's creatively bankrupt and usually heavy-handed slop. Just immersion shattering garbage. Most importantly, it's what the East has realized is unpopular. So for the millions that they're raking in with these games they're making where they simply give people what they want, if you like Batman, he too will end up on a park bench getting a bullet in his head by a less sexy Harley Quinn. You better not like the Joker too much, or this motherfucker might be in a musical with Lady Gaga getting fucked in the butt. You getting butt fucked in the prison? Oh my God. Anyway, Schedule 1 could do 4 times as well as a Balatro, and it would never receive the kind of card game coverage that the Game Awards was going to distribute, because you living in a Hogwarts Legacy world, but ain't no woke stuff going on in gaming, right? On Twitter, I said, gaming is bossing say, and woke is the war. One guy allegedly developed this game, and if that's the case, they better be celebrated. I can't tell you how hard the Xbox Connect vibes were going crazy watching that show, seeing them raise high the ability to voice chat and now have video it's not that remarkable. It kind of creeps me out a little bit. They're late to this and it feels obligatory, and they're making a big deal. Okay. I mentioned Battle Royale when I saw that Nintendo bought From Software exclusive, and I'll repeat what I've said about Starfield, about Avowed, about Dragon Age. It's that they take away things that were standard, okay? And when they you could kill NPCs, you could customize your character. When they return it, it's something that we should be cheering for. I'm afraid it's not worthy of explosive acknowledgement when, if you do acknowledge it, shills, you're agreeing with us, the anti-woke, the heels versus babyface, the pronouns. We clock a stark, distracting absence of not just features that were here decades ago, but developer incompetence in games that were made so poorly that AI is already outperforming you. And in half a decade, you won't exist. You lowered this bar. There are standards. People are not cheering for AI. They're cheering for any alternative that screws them less than you. It's like an election. Maybe you could see or imagine what that's like if you were capable of being a little less of a narcissist and seeing it from someone's perspective that isn't you. Woke constantly makes the inferior option. It doesn't deliver, Schedule 1 pun intended. Desperately aware that it needs to hide aggressive, preachy, pandering garbage in the entertainment it's supposed to be, and you're removing choice because you know if there's an option, you are the inferior one. Culture firmly rejects your identity politics, political correctness, safe, sanitized slop. We are witnessing the market correct itself as people market their games with what woke games avoid. We're watching garbage people attack game developers who are simply giving a voice to people the same way Elon did, and they'll never leave Elon's platform because they need the attention daddy jizzes onto their face. It didn't take coordination from the disconnected and offline gamers to see a Concord or Sweet Baby Inc. game and say hell no. But every voice still counts. So if obnoxious prices other wannabe Ubisofts will try to follow the trend of upsets you, raise your voice. Maybe $80 Mario games will finally give everybody a taste of what Kyle's been dealing with for 10 years as a gamer. Most entities are blind, dumb, ignorant, and uninterested in any of the online discourse, and when something they like comes along, they will buy. As long as it's thing they like, they will buy. Girls are currently loving their hot guy to tap with a deep voice on their mobile phone apps. I'm eagerly awaiting Shift Up's next project that I hope to share with a multiplayer team so we can form a jiggly waifu Power Ranger force. Palworld's April Fool's gag was to have a dating simulator for the pals, and I'm not joking in telling you this. This was their original plan, but even they knew where to stop. In that way, they're not woke, because they're smart enough to know there is a too far. But we could put it out as a joke, and based on the reaction, we could see where that goes. That's how Pokemon Go started, too. Dyed hair game dev said they can't put their finger on and have no evidence of, but he got a feeling that this is cheating. Same Sushi Squad slop developers, right? that are congratulating themselves for getting a black character, a race swap Deadshot, by the way, on the cover of a gang, because that's never happened before, unless maybe you're a tourist and you don't really know. But even when they make remarks on DEI designs, they must quickly roll over and wag that tail to signal to the woke cult that they will do as they are told. They will be silent when they are told to be silent. I remember before Baldur's Gate came out, somebody was trying to say, this isn't the standard moving forward, and it was such a funny moment because who do you think decides that? They thought they decide what the standard is? We talk about experience and time that we've invested and the perspective that it grants us. We make noise because we can, so we must. And the truth of the matter is, the market decides. You can shill and lie and dress up that man and put a woman name tag on it, but you're gonna have to pay people to squeeze their mosquito bites for you and shake those pom-poms to get anybody talking about your garbage, your forgettable shit that nobody will remember when it passes. You guys remember like Watchmen and shit like that? Of course you fucking don't. And some of those things still exist. They aren't shut down in 2 weeks like the woke slop that you see pumped out in exclusively the Western gaming industry. So big titty beta testers recognize where we're moving. I hear some of the girls are using the term Renaissance, Western voice actors losing their mind on the way to getting fired. And you know, it's more wait and see, time will tell, because these people can't listen to reason. But when the reality sets in, beta testers, I love you, and I do want to go capture some of the footage and some of these amusing experiences while I can, so I'll talk to you soon. Bud Light, Jaguar, Target, Boeing, diverse discrimination ongoing, spit too much truth prepared to be slandered, head chalk fails DEI standard, she's all woman not body type B, NetEase, pledge edge unseen since the 90s, China less commie than a woke neo-Marxist, blonde white woman invigorate the market, call me Ben Grimm cause I'm all bricked up, fantastic Fanny Sue Storm got a dump truck, problematic from a bygone era, less gay than he him was aware, absolutamente Chloe Toe hetero about to flush a rainbow, Asian prophet suddenly a no male gaze wins because it's not homo, mentally ill says Meta on trans, flame on, California stands, oops all smoke hydrant, no water, UK law won't protect your daughter, pronouns race swap butch oh my, record layoffs in 2025, since woke left good money on the table, government ban everything but cable, beauty bad says another TQ plus male gaze hater oozing mucus, more nutty than a sharded deuce. Inclusion has exhausted its use. Hello, beta testers.